Okay, your standard 22R, you need one between 1980 and 1984. You need to check your top of your water pump down here. Make sure it has a curve over at this end of it. You're going to be using the carb right here. What's important about this build is that you're going to be putting a 20R head on a 22R motor. We're going to be using 99% stock parts. The only thing not stock that we're going to be using is going to be an adapter plate for the carburetor, so we can use 22R carburetor on the 20R head. The bottom of the motor is going to maintain 22, the top's going to be a 20R. This is completely stock build. You want to make sure you get the bigger 22R header. It's stock. Other than that, everything's going to be stock. This motor just took the air cleaner assembly off for now, just to show you guys a little bit better. But that's about it, and I'm going to begin tearing down the motor and get pictures and video on the way. So. Okay, just took the valve cover off. What you're going to want is you're going to want those aluminum rocker arms right there. That whole assembly. 20R, they came with steel rocker arms. 22Rs, they came with aluminum rocker arms. You might have a 22R with steel rocker arms, you just need to check it out. These ones happen to be aluminum, so we're going to use this rocker arm assembly and that carburetor. LC Engineering sells a carburetor adapter plate. What you're going to notice on your 22Rs, you're going to have a single row timing chain. The 20R has a double row. We're just going to be using the single row because we're not going to do the timing chain right now. So we're just going to do a quick swap, use single row. So just make sure you got the aluminum rocker arms at this point. Alright, now that everything's disconnected, we got the header unbolted, coil wire off, grounding straps in the back. We got the front belt assembly off underneath the distributor, and on the front of the head we got the radiator hose, choke choke wiring harness, as well as the temperature wiring harness that goes on top of there. We got the throttle cable unhooked, the spring unhooked, fuel lines are unhooked, we got the belt taken off. Last thing to do is remove the 10 head bolts, and also there's a hidden bolt underneath of this distributor. I'll show you that bolt. Here's that bolt. That's that bolt that hides underneath of this distributor. Usually it's submerged in oil, and that will hold your shit up. So remove that bolt, 10 head bolts, and you'll be ready to pull off. I leave the intake, exhaust, I leave that all on, and just pull it all up as one big unit. So it's not too heavy, you can do it by yourself. You got to remove this timing chain cover, pull the distributor out and just set it out to the side so that your teeth stay pretty close. Pull this off, and then you're good to go. Alright, I'll be back. Alright, there's the piston tops about an hour later. You can see I got the timing chain right here, just hooked up with a bungee cord over to the side of the truck just to keep it taut. You know, I got the links marked and everything, so you gotta know how to do a fucking head job before you just dive into this, but you see how that is. Here's the rotating assembly of the top, the head, intake, exhaust, all that shit, distributor, it's all together. We're going to be using this camshaft and this rocker arms and this carburetor and that exhaust manifold. See how it goes 4 down into 2 and then 2 back down into 1 inside of the truck. But make sure you got the 4 to 2, not the 4 to 1. So make sure you got that. Over here we're going to come over to this 20R head. How do you know it's a 20R? You just look on the intake. See those round? Yeah, that's what we're looking for. We're going to be taking off that, which is the fuel pump, block off plate. You got to make sure your head has that for a 20R head. And you got to come over here to make sure you got these power steering boss right here. See those 4 holes right here? These are power steering bosses. Make sure your head has that, and make sure it has this cutout for the fuel pump. 20R head, you must have this. You must have these for your 20R head. We're going to be using the 22R cam, 22R rockers, 22R front gear, you know, everything else is going to be 22R. We're just replacing the head and the intake. That's it. It's all 20R right there. Okay. Alright, there's the 22R cam inside the 22R head. Got it on there. You know, you got to bolt it up, torque it to the specs that it calls for. You're going to use the 22R rocker assembly on that 20R head. We're using the 22R 4-2. See the 2 holes down there. 2. Not just 1, 2. And then we're going to be pulling the carburetor off this and using an LC Engineering adapter plate. Okay, so I just want to show you this real quick. Here's the 22R head and intake manifold. See how it goes into 1 runner right here and then splits back into 2 runners? Right here is really restrictive. Here's the 20R manifold. Each runner gets a straight shot into the carburetor. See that? See how that's twice as wide as that? So each runner, you can see inside there, gets its own straight shot. That looks like a real intake manifold there, and that one really restrictive. So that's how your high flow comes in, you know. 20R flows a lot better than a 22R for that reason right there. Okay, we're here with both the intake manifolds. Here's 22R manifold, 20R manifold. Now the only difference I noticed so far is this water pipe right here. This goes from the bottom of the 22 intake into the back of the water pump. And the only difference I noticed is that on the 20R it comes out the top right here instead of the bottom right here. So you're just gonna have to get a different hose, route this one over, around, and down like this one is. That's the only difference I noticed so far. And you got to get one of these off of your 22R manifold. See it? It's just the fuel line. It's built into the 22R manifold, and 20R's is not technically built in. So just grab that, take it off your 22R manifold, and that'll just be hanging down below there like that. So you gotta grab the fuel line off the 22R intake, because 20R does not have one. And you gotta remodify that bottom cooling pipe to come out of the top and go around and down. So that's it so far.